The pirate. Figor was a second generation of Reds. At the time that King Sokrim was building the Red Land, he and the others joined the Bix bandits who attacked the Bix and foreign traders that plied the great river from Igathansha to Bixar. He eluded the Bix and the Red army who were searching for them, for they disguised themselves as traders. They hid their ships at the river running at the base of the mountain in the middle of the Red Land. He almost lost all his pirates from the attack of the Vamouths. He was furious but could not do anything against them. Yes, he learned the source of the blue stones and was fascinated at the story of Hiavi, who he believed to be true. He wanted it so bad, fearing that the others would discover and know before him. Several times, he never failed to be the first at an opportunity, for he was always the first to learn about hidden riches of others, as confessed by the Bix and Red traders, mostly sailors, who fell victims to him. None of them lived under his hands, for whenever he got what he wanted from a life, he saw them as nothing but part of the statistics of those he murdered. He even knows the exact number of his victims, for the wide walls of his quarters served as a board painted with the blood of those lives he ended. It always pleased him to see fresh blood painted on his walls as if it was the canvas of his masterpiece, and this made his own pirates feared him much in secret, for they were living witnesses at the way he killed their captives, especially the Bix soldiers. He knew that the way going to where the blue stones were was to pass by Nosnev, where great warriors of the Vamouths lurked. He knew that Hiavi was telling the truth. He knows anyone who tells the truth, for he mastered the way to let the truth come out from anyone who fell into his hands. He does not know, however, the way to Zereklada by other means, and his only means of getting there were gotten by their own kind. He needed more pirates and he must recruit, he thought. Inside his quarters, he heard commotions from the outside. When he got out, it was too late. He saw Sumik soldiers, the Northern Reds, collared his remaining pirates and killed those who tried to attack the soldiers. He saw his ships in flames and it was too late for him to escape. The burning Kayadas that they fired at Nosnev were seen by the Red soldiers, who followed their boats as it maneuvered the high and rocky cliffs enclosing his quarters. He was captured and was brought to the Red Land. Figor and his men were sent to Callow, where all Reds who committed wrongdoings were imprisoned. On the 5th day, he was taken out, blindfolded, and was led inside an alley crossing several rooms where other prisoners were. They walked some time until the coldness of the ground underneath disappeared. He walked up the stairs leading to the surface, where he was taken to a waiting carriage for prisoners. On his way, he heard voices from different directions. Some were cursing him, while a few were rejoiceful as they insulted him, but all these were like music to his ears. "They know me very well, here," he thought as he gave his familiar grin. It was as if the curses were melodies filling him. It took a few moments until they stopped as two soldiers held his tied arm on both sides. The soldiers dragged him towards the inside of the palace as he felt its warmth and scented fragrance filling the air. He had never been in such a place, for he was used to filthy spaces where dirt, rats, insects, rotten fruits and meat can be found. His squander for years buried under the soils of his quarter could have made him and his pirates enjoyed the wealthy lives of the riches at Bixar and Red Land, but these seemed nothing to him and regarded them like trophies of his successes. A few of his pirates, tired of their ways and wanting to live normal lives, tried to take away his life for their loots, but always, Figor would know before they can even try to kill him. They suffered the same fate as those he murdered with his own hands. This made his pirates scared at him and followed his command, especially those loyal to him, for once he saved them from death, gave them a home and a family of their own. He allowed them to enjoy their loot from time to time by sending them to whorehouses and bars at Bixar and the Red Land. Figor knew how to handle them, his adopted father taught him, and his experience sealed his knowledge on their behaviors, for once he was like them. They walked further, passing short corridors after short corridors, until he was made to stop as the soldiers made him to sit. The Reds tied him up tightly on the wooden chair and roughly took away his blindfold. With his eyes still trying to adapt to the light, he winked fast at a figure in front of him, trying to figure out who the life standing before him. It was King Sokrim. You have eluded us and brought shame to the Reds for many times. You squandered and killed many traders. Tell me, Figor, why should I not punish you? Figor, a mixture of Bix and Sumik have lived through difficult times, and being smart in evil ways made him survive. My king, I know that I should die for my deeds. Here, you can kill me now and you will never find the most expensive stones in the world. Do you think I will spare your life because you know where the most expensive stones are? Figor responded with a smile. He will master his way out again like he did with the big soldiers who once caught and tortured him in the past while he was a young and a small-time thief. The tortures did not leave his mind, for it almost cost his life many times as he experienced the brunt of severe punches, kicks and hit with solid wood, sending him unconscious on several occasions. When he stole a purse containing several gems, he was caught again by his usual captors, but this time, they were unforgiving, for the purse belonged to the wife of one of the most influential leaders of Bixar, Funk, the king's right hand, who ordered his own merciless guards, former soldiers, to take care of him and not send him any more to their court for the right punishment. At the hands of his new captors, he experienced the most horrifying thing in his life when he was raped, tortured and severely torched his left hand and face, broke his bones and left him in an almost dying state in the wild woods near the river until he was found by Tachuro, the once legendary pirate, who saved and taught him his ways. Time passed, and being with Tachuro made him learn the trade as Tachuro taught him everything, for he was pleased with his skills and wits, to the point that Tachuro embraced him like a son, and he like a father. When Tachuro and a few other pirates with him were killed while escaping the soldiers who recognized them in one of the trading ports at Bixar, he assumed his place until he became like a myth, much farther than his adopted father. His hate with the big soldiers had grew to an ultimate point with the death of Tachuro that made him mad each time he sees one. Unlike Tachuro, he was merciless and never left any life to live each time he hijacked their victims' boats, and was even more merciless on those who were relatives or good friends of the soldiers at Bixar. He earned the reputation of a devil, and some regarded him like a mythical invisible monster of the great river, for never was a time that the soldiers from Bixar and the Red Land got close to knowing him. He recruited his pirates by himself and chose the very young, homeless, and smart thieves who he saw himself in them. He was a product of a broken family, abandoned by his Bix father when he was young. When her Sumik mother died from an illness, he lived on the streets and very dark corridors with the other homeless kids, fed with the rats and bugs, feeding on leftover food and rotten fruits. It was only through stealing that he could eat very fine food, but this was not without cost, for he was caught many times that made him endure pain and lost emotions. Each time he would capture a big soldier or soldiers with the sailors, and sailors with connections with any soldiers, he certainly makes sure that it suffered much times as what he had felt from the hands of his captors before he puts them to death. All of those he murdered with his own hands joined the count of dried blood on the walls of his camp. I think so, my king, because I am the only one who could tell you where the blue stones are. Here. So, where are the blue stones, Figor? Ha, you believe me? Here, I knew it. I have no choice. I have no time. If I don't have it, I am finished. You can tell me now and I will let you live, or I will let you burn like your men. At these words, King Sokrim ordered the curtains of the corridor opened, where Figor saw his men hanging and burning in flames. Some of them were still alive, pleading and shouting, while he could hear shouts and curses from the Reds watching the show. Most of them were the families of those he murdered. It was horrifying, but this did not do well to scare him. He had seen more that, and most of it were his doing. He just laughed at the king, and such act made the king changed face from an expected control over him to rage as his eyes sharpened that Figor expected. However, King Sokrim sensed this from him as he began to compose himself. This made Figor shiver for the first time as he saw himself with the king. Figor, I am waiting. I will tell you, but promise me that you will also share with me those blue stones. Here. King Sokrim smiled, the same kind of a smile that Figor knew before he kills his prey. Though Figor had much loot, he knew that the blue stones were much valuable than any stones that he had for years, for its very sight at Bixer. Every Bix trader got crazy to the point of killing each other. The 3 Bix traders who got the stones that he sold were found murdered together with their private guards and families in secluded homes, attacked by Bix bandits who even disregarded the danger from their private guards. With the exception of the rich war who had far-numbered private guards that seemed like an army, each one who had the blue stones sold by he was slain. So you want to bargain with me? He was telling the truth. So where are the stones? King Sokrin thought, but his face did not reveal it. He had not used much of his learning and experiences against anyone before, but now, he was forced to play games against the smart and legendary pirate before him. He did not expect that there was truth to what Figor had said, for his men got all Figor's loots, including the blue stones that were taken from the Vamouths. All the time, King Sokrin was searching in great length for Figor, not to seek for justice against Figor's victims but for his loots to add to his dwindling wealth. He only planned to converse with the famous pirate of the Great River and burn him to death like the other bandits that he caught and fought in the past. But he was sensing that Figor knew something that he didn't know. I am the only one who knows where the blue stones are, my king. King Sokrin thought about Igathansha, where all of the precious blue stones went, and purchased by the corks at very expensive prices, providing immense wealth and riches to the sellers. One of them was the king of Bixer, Elbert. The 4 blue stones that he sold with the Bixers provided him much to last some years. At first, he did not believe that there were others that existed for its rarity, and now, Figor was about to tell him where to find it. It will save his reign and temporary friendship with the greedy Bixers, for his loot at Igathansha had depleted much to an almost gone state. His search for Figor was a desperate attempt to save himself against the Bixers, for he knew that once the Bixers learned that he has nothing anymore, his trader friends would be gone as fast as they came, and Bixer will close its borders to him. He considered the Bixers as fair-weather friends. He sat back while crossing his arms towards his chest as he stared at the pirate's eyes. This time, Figor sensed he was succeeding. I am listening, Figor.